The night was quiet. Only the sound of crickets and wind moved through the thick forest. Leo, a young man in his 20s, was walking home with a small bundle of firewood in his arms. He lived alone in a small wooden cabin deep inside the forest. No neighbors, no noise, just him and nature. But tonight something felt strange. Suddenly a loud sound shook the trees. Boom! A bright flash of light lit up the sky, and something came crashing down beyond the hills. The ground shook for a second. Birds flew into the air, frightened. Leo dropped the wood and stared into the distance. Smoke rose behind the trees. What the hell was that? He whispered. Without thinking, Leo grabbed a flashlight, his old jacket, and ran toward the sound. He pushed through the thick bushes and followed the smoke trail. The air smelled like burning metal. After 10 minutes of running, he reached a clearing. There, in the center of broken trees and scorched grass, was something he had never seen before. A small silver pod shaped like a drop of water, half buried in the earth. Parts of it were still glowing red. Steam hissed from cracks. Leo stepped closer, slowly. Is it a drone? A plane? He said, but he knew it wasn't. Suddenly, something moved inside the wreck. A small panel hissed open, and a weak hand reached out. Thin fingers, pale skin, with a slight glow. Not human. Leo's heart beat faster. Then he saw her. An alien girl, maybe his age or younger, tried to crawl out. Her silver suit was torn, her long white hair dirty with ash. Her eyes were large and violet, and her skin shimmered, faintly like moonlight. She was bleeding from her shoulder and her breathing was weak. She looked at Leo with fear. Her lips moved, but no words came. Leo froze. She was beautiful, but clearly in pain. Her body trembled. She tried to stand, but fell. Leo took a step back. His mind screamed, "Danger! She's not human." But his heart said, "She needs help." He made his choice. Leo dropped to his knees and held out his hands. "It's okay. I won't hurt you." She looked at him, confused, breathing fast. Then her legs gave out. She collapsed. Leo caught her just in time. Her body was warm but weak. She was so light, like she was made of air. "I've got you," he said softly. "You're going to be okay." He looked around. What if someone else saw the crash? What if more aliens were coming? What if the military was already tracking this? He had no time to think. He wrapped her in his jacket, picked her up, and carried her toward his cabin. It was a hard walk back. She moaned a few times, her head resting on his chest. She spoke strange words in a language he didn't know. Once, she opened her eyes and touched his face gently like she didn't believe he was real. Leo didn't speak. He just walked faster. At the cabin, he placed her gently on his bed. He lit the fireplace to warm the room. Then, he grabbed clean towels, water, and a first aid kit. Her wounds were deep, but not impossible to treat. He cleaned the blood and wrapped her shoulder. Her skin reacted strangely. When he touched her, it glowed softly, almost like she was absorbing his body heat. He sat down beside her and watched her sleep. "Who are you?" he whispered. "Why did you fall here?" She looked peaceful now, breathing slowly. She had alien features, yes, but something about her felt human. Leo didn't know what tomorrow would bring. He only knew one thing. He had saved her life, and he could feel deep inside. This was just the beginning. The next morning, sunlight slipped through the wooden cracks in Leo's cabin. The fire had turned to ash, and the air was cold again. Leo opened his eyes slowly. For a moment, he forgot everything. Then he remembered her. He turned to the bed, and there she was, still lying quietly. Her silver suit was torn, her white hair scattered across the pillow, her arm wrapped in the cloth he used last night. She was still breathing. Soft, calm, alive. Leo stood up and walked over. He knelt beside her. "You're safe now," he whispered. Her violet eyes opened. She stared at him. She didn't speak, just watched. Slowly, she sat up, her body weak, but alert. Her gaze moved around the room, walls, books, firewood, and then him. Leo smiled gently and pointed to himself. Leo, my name is Leo. She blinked. Then she touched her chest and said softly, Mira. Her voice was strange, musical, like she was trying to speak underwater. Mira, Leo repeated, nodding. Nice to meet you. They sat in silence. Words didn't work, so Leo did something simple. He stood up, went to the small kitchen, and brought her a bowl of warm soup. She looked at the steam rising. She sniffed it, then she picked up the spoon, clumsily, and tasted it. Her eyes widened. She took another bite, faster this time, then another. Leo laughed. Okay, I guess you were really hungry. For the next few hours they stayed like that, quiet, watching each other. Leo gave her a blanket, showed her the bathroom, and even handed her a mirror. She looked at herself and tilted her head, almost surprised by what she saw. Later, Leo took out a pencil and a notebook. He drew a picture of Earth, trees, the sun, then a picture of a spaceship in the sky. He pointed at himself, then Earth. She watched closely. Then she took the pencil and drew a symbol, 3 stars in a triangle, with a dark circle in the center. Leo didn't understand. But the way she looked at that symbol, it scared her. She quickly scratched it out and shook her head. No? Leo asked. Bad? She nodded. Bad. Something, or someone, was chasing her. That night, something strange happened. Leo was sitting by the fireplace, reading an old book. Mira was lying on the bed, wrapped in the blanket. But suddenly the room grew colder, even with the fire going strong. Mira began to shake, not from fear, from pain. Her skin started glowing again, but brighter this time. Her hands trembled and she covered her face, whispering in her language. Leo rushed over. What's wrong? Her body was changing. Her breathing became sharp. The tips of her fingers turned a faint blue. He didn't know what to do until he remembered how she had reacted to his touch last night. Without thinking, Leo held her hand tightly. Her glowing skin touched his. Then slowly, the glow faded. Her breath calmed. Her body stopped shaking. Mira looked at him, her eyes wide. She raised a shaky finger and touched his chest. Warm, she whispered. You, warm. Leo felt his heart beat faster. You need warmth to survive? She nodded weakly, and then, without a word, she rested her head against his shoulder. That night, she didn't sleep alone. She lay beside him near the fire, wrapped in his blanket, her head against his chest, her strange glowing skin finally calm. Leo stared at the ceiling, wide awake. He had no idea where she came from, why she crashed here, or what danger followed her. But he knew one thing. He had made a silent promise. He would protect her, no matter what. 3 days passed. Mira was healing quickly now. Her wounds closed faster than any human's. The bruises on her skin had faded and her strength had returned. She even smiled sometimes. Small, soft smiles that surprised Leo. But she never laughed. And she never relaxed fully. Even when they sat together by the fire, her eyes often drifted to the window, watching the trees, listening to the wind, waiting for something. Leo noticed. Are you expecting someone? He asked, half joking. Mira looked at him. Her face turned serious. She touched the side of her head with 2 fingers, then pointed upward, to the sky. Eyes, she said. Sky eyes, hunting me. Leo froze. You mean, they're watching, from space? She nodded once. That night, Leo had trouble sleeping. Early the next morning, he went outside to chop firewood. The air was cold, the grass wet with dew. Birds were chirping as usual. But then, a strange sound cut through the forest. Hum. Deep, low sound, almost like a drone, but much more powerful. The kind of sound that didn't belong to Earth. Leo dropped the axe. He ran up the hill behind his cabin and stared into the sky. A black triangle hovered high above the forest, silent, almost invisible except for the shimmer around its edges. Like it was cloaked, like it wasn't supposed to be seen, but Leo saw it, and it was watching. Back in the cabin, Mira stood up the moment Leo rushed inside. "They're here," he said, breathing hard. Mira grabbed his hand. Her eyes were full of fear. "They come. Take me. Kill you," she said, her words broken. "No one's taking you," Leo said. "Not while I'm here." Mira looked at the window. Her fingers moved fast in the air, drawing shapes, writing symbols that Leo didn't understand. Then she stopped. "Tracker," she said. "Inside me." Leo blinked. "What?" She pointed. To her neck. "Metal seed. They follow. Always find me." She opened the medical kit and pulled out a knife. Leo's eyes widened. "No. You're hurt." She gave him the knife. "Cut it. Please." He hesitated, but she looked at him with full trust. "Please, Leo." 10 minutes later, the small glowing object was out of her neck. It was no larger than a grain of rice, but it pulsed with a red light. Leo dropped it into a metal bucket and smashed it with a hammer. The light died instantly. Mira's body relaxed. She leaned against the wall and closed her eyes. Leo whispered, "You're safe now." But outside, he wasn't so sure. That night, a strange fog came through the forest. It wasn't normal fog. It moved too fast, and it glowed faintly blue. Leo looked through the window. Shapes moved inside the fog, tall figures, not human, and in the center, something even stranger, a floating sphere, spinning slowly, scanning the ground with beams of light. Leo grabbed Mira's hand. "We have to hide," he said. She nodded. Leo had built a small tunnel under his cabin, just an old escape route left over from when his grandfather lived there during wartime. No one knew about it. They crawled in and closed the hatch. From inside they heard it. Thump, thump, thump. Heavy footsteps above them. The cabin door broke open. Mira grabbed Leo's arm tightly, shaking. Leo put a finger to her lips. "Shh. Don't move." Above them, the aliens searched everything. One of them growled in a strange language. Another smashed a table. The spinning sphere hovered low, scanning the walls, the floor, the bed where Mira once lay. Then silence. Moments passed. Then, footsteps fading. The door slammed. The ship above the forest lifted into the sky, disappearing into the clouds. An hour later, Leo opened the hatch. The cabin was a mess. Broken furniture, crushed food, but they were alive. Mira looked around, then at Leo. She touched his face again and whispered, "Why protect me?" Leo didn't answer. He just looked into her glowing violet eyes and said, "Because you're not just some alien to me anymore." She didn't understand all the words, but she understood the meaning. The days after the cabin attack were quiet, but not peaceful. Mira didn't sleep much anymore. She sat by the window every night, her glowing eyes watching the dark forest. Leo fixed the cabin slowly, one broken piece at a time. But inside they both knew. The silence wouldn't last. Leo tried to cheer her up. "Hey," he said, offering her a cup of warm tea. "You ever smile?" She took the cup, held it, but didn't drink. Then softly she said, "I smile. Before." "Before what?" She didn't answer. Leo didn't ask again. That night the quiet ended. It began with a sharp sound, a high-pitched whistle that came from deep in the trees. Then the lights flickered. Leo looked at Mira. "That's not normal." Mira stood slowly. Her hands were shaking. "They come again," she whispered. "This time, not to search, to take." Leo ran to the back room and grabbed the old hunting rifle his father had left behind. It hadn't been fired in years, but it was the only thing he had. Mira placed a hand on his arm. "No gun. You die." He looked at her. Then what do we do? She didn't answer. Instead, she walked to the door and opened it. Outside, the air was thick and still. Too still. Then came movement. Tall shadows between the trees, glowing eyes, silent steps. Mira stepped forward, her hands out. "No fight," she whispered. But the aliens didn't stop. A beam of light shot toward her. Leo shouted, "Mira!" He jumped in front of her just as the beam hit his side. The pain burned through his ribs. He fell to the ground, groaning. Mira screamed. Something changed in her. Her body began to glow, but not like before. It was brighter, stronger. Her eyes turned white. The air around her shimmered with invisible energy. The alien stepped back, too late. A shockwave exploded from her body. Trees bent. Rocks lifted. The sky itself seemed to pulse. The attackers were thrown back like dolls. The ground cracked beneath her. And then, just like that, the light faded. Mira fell to her knees, panting. She crawled to Leo. He was still breathing, but bleeding badly. "No. No, no, no," she whispered. She touched his wound. Her fingers glowed again, but softer this time. She closed her eyes and focused. Leo's breath became steady. The bleeding slowed. His eyes opened. "You can heal?" Mira didn't answer. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "You almost die," she whispered. "Because of me." Leo reached up weakly and touched her hand. "No. Because I chose to protect you." She leaned forward and placed her forehead against his, and for the first time since she crashed, she whispered, "Thank you." Later, as Leo rested, Mira sat outside the cabin, alone. She looked at her hands. They were shaking, not from fear, but from what she had done. The power inside her, it was growing. It was dangerous, and if she couldn't control it. She looked back at Leo through the window. She couldn't let that happen again. Leo didn't die, but for 2 days he didn't wake up either. He lay on the cabin bed, his chest bandaged, breathing slow and steady. Mira stayed beside him the whole time. She didn't sleep. She didn't eat. She just watched him. Like if she looked away, he might disappear. On the third morning, he opened his eyes. "You're still here," he said, his voice dry. Mira gave a small, broken smile. "Always." She brought him water, helped him sit up. Leo groaned but smiled too. "I've had worse mornings," he joked, but Mira didn't laugh. She just looked at her glowing hands. "I hurt you." "No," Leo said gently. "You saved me." She shook her head. "But before that, I almost killed everything." Leo reached out, took her hand. "You only lost control because they attacked. That power, it's part of you." "That's what I'm scared of," she whispered. That evening, Mira stepped outside alone. The sun was setting behind the trees. She sat on a flat stone near the garden Leo had once tried to grow vegetables in. It was mostly weeds now. She picked up a dead leaf and watched it crumble in her hand. She had left her planet to escape control. Escape war. Escape the people who wanted to use her like a weapon, but maybe she was a weapon. Her fingers glowed again. She clenched her fist until the light faded. Later that night, Leo called her to the fireplace. "Sit with me?" he asked. She did. He had made warm tea again. He offered her a mug. She took it carefully, like it was a gift. Leo stared into the fire. Then he asked, "Do your people feel love?" She was silent. Then she answered slowly, "My people feel duty, honor, connection, but not love." Leo looked at her. "But you understand it now, don't you?" Mira's violet eyes glowed, faintly. "I feel something when I look at you, when I touch you. It is warm, it is soft, but it also scares me." Leo nodded. "That's love." She looked confused. He explained, "Love isn't always easy. It makes you want to protect someone more than yourself. It can make you strong, or broken, or both." Mira tilted her head. "Do you feel love for me?" Leo looked away for a moment, then back at her. "Yes." She blinked. "Even when I'm dangerous?" "Especially then." A long silence followed. Then, Mira whispered, "If I stay, will I hurt you again?" Leo didn't answer right away. Then he said, "I can't promise we'll always be safe. But I can promise this, if you stay, you'll never be alone." Mira reached out and placed her hand on his chest. She felt his heartbeat, slow and steady. "Your heart," she whispered. "So strong." Leo smiled. "You have one too." She looked down at her chest. "I don't know how to use it." "You're learning." That night she didn't sleep in the corner like before. She lay beside him by the fire. For the first time, Mira rested her head on his shoulder. On her own. She wasn't just trying to survive anymore. She was learning to feel. Far above the Earth, in a silent orbit, another alien ship appeared, sleek, black, watching. Inside, a tall figure with golden armor stared at a glowing screen. "Mira lives," it said coldly. "Then she must be retrieved. The weapon must return." A light flashed. On the console, they had found her again. The warning came in a dream. Mira stood in a field of stars. She could see her old home planet far away, cold, gray, silent. The voice of her old commander echoed around her. "You belong to us. Your power is ours. You cannot run." She opened her mouth to scream, but no sound came. Then she woke up, sweating, shaking, eyes glowing. Leo sat up too. "What's wrong?" "They're here," she whispered. "Close. This time, they bring hunters." Leo didn't ask how she knew. He trusted her now without question. Before dawn, they packed everything. Leo pulled up the hatch to the underground escape tunnel. Old, dusty, but still usable. Mira stopped him. "They know this place now. They will block every path." Leo looked her in the eyes. "Then we make our own path." By sunrise, the forest was crawling with shadows. Black-armored alien hunters walked between trees, silent, scanning. Above them, drones hummed in the sky. In the far distance, a massive dark ship hovered like a storm cloud, waiting. Inside that ship, a leader watched. The same golden-armored figure from before. "Do not harm the human," he ordered, "but bring the girl alive." Leo and Mira moved fast, through the old logging trails, under fallen trees, across frozen streams. They didn't speak. They just ran. Mira wore one of Leo's old jackets now. Her silver skin barely glowed in the cold light. But her eyes never left the sky. Suddenly, a sharp sound cut through the air. A hunter's signal beam. They had been spotted. "Mira, go." Leo shouted. She froze. "I won't leave you." He turned to her. "You said your power hurts people, then use it to protect yourself. I'll slow them down." Mira's voice broke. "No, I won't survive without you." Leo smiled sadly. "You will, because you're not just power anymore, you're someone." She looked at him, trembling. Then she kissed him, soft, quick, full of meaning, and ran. Leo turned toward the sound of the approaching hunters. He took cover behind a fallen log, aimed the old rifle, and waited. The first hunter appeared, tall, armored, eyes glowing red. Leo fired. The shot hit its shoulder. Sparks flew, but the hunter didn't stop. Another one joined, then another. Leo backed up, heart racing. They circled him. Then suddenly, a flash of violet light tore through the air. Mira had returned. Her eyes glowed pure white now. Her skin shimmered like stars. She stood between Leo and the hunters. "No more running," she said. She raised her hands. A massive wave of energy exploded from her. But this time, it didn't burn. It bent around Leo, protected him. The hunters were pushed back, stunned but not dead. Mira fell to one knee, exhausted. Leo caught her. "You came back." "You said I'd survive," she said weakly, "but only if I have something to live for." Suddenly, a voice rang through the trees, cold, familiar, not human. "Mira." They both turned. The golden-armored alien leader stepped into the clearing, walking slowly, hands behind his back. He looked at Leo. "So, this is the one you protect?" Mira stepped forward, standing tall even while shaking. "I'm not your weapon anymore." The leader nodded. "No, you're not. You've evolved. But that power still belongs to us." Leo stepped in front of her. "Then you'll have to take it from both of us." The alien leader paused, then smiled. "Interesting." He raised one hand. A signal flickered. Above, the large black ship turned and disappeared into the clouds. The hunters vanished. Too, Mira blinked. "They're leaving?" The leader stepped closer. "I came to see what you had become. Now I understand. You are not ours anymore." He looked at Leo. "She's yours now. For now." Then he turned and walked into the trees. Gone. Silence. Mira fell into Leo's arms, shaking with relief. "You made them stop?" she whispered. "No," he said, holding her tight. "You did." Snow began to fall, not the violent kind. Soft flakes danced gently from the gray sky, covering the burnt trees, cracked earth, and broken footprints of the battle just ended. The forest was quiet again. But this time, it felt like peace. Leo sat with his back against a tree, holding Mira close. She rested in his lap, her eyes half closed, her head against his chest. The golden-armored leader and his soldiers were gone. For now. Leo stroked her white hair gently. It felt lighter than human hair, almost like silk woven from moonlight. "You're safe," he whispered. Mira didn't speak. Not because she was weak, because she was thinking. That night, back in the cabin, Leo made food while Mira sat quietly by the fire. She was wrapped in a blanket, holding the teacup he gave her earlier, but she hadn't taken a sip. She stared into the flames. Leo placed a bowl in front of her. Potato soup. Not alien, but edible. No smile. He sat beside her. "You haven't said much since they left," he said softly. Mira turned her face slightly. "They didn't leave because they feared me. They left because I am no longer useful to them." "That's not true." "Yes, it is," she said. "I was trained to destroy. My powers made me special. When I stopped being a weapon, I became nothing to them." Leo shook his head. "To them maybe, but not to me." She looked at him. "Then what am I to you?" Leo didn't answer right away. He stood, walked to the window, and looked outside. Snow was falling heavier now. Finally, he said, "You're someone I didn't know I needed, until you fell from the sky." The next morning, Mira left a note on the table. Just one word, written in shaky human script. "Sorry." Leo woke up, alone. Panic hit him like a hammer. He ran outside, shouting her name. "Mira! Mira!" No answer. He searched the trees, the stream, the hills. Nothing. He returned to the crash site. Only a deep frozen crater remained. She was gone. 5 days passed. Leo didn't eat much, didn't speak, just waited. Each night he sat by the fire, staring at the front door, hoping it would open. It never did. But on the 6th night, something happened. The air changed, not with fear, with warmth. A knock at the door. Leo stood up slowly. He opened it and froze. Mira stood there. But she looked different. Her alien suit was gone. She wore simple earth clothes, an old sweater of Leo's, jeans and boots. Her hair was tied back, loosely, snowflakes melting on her cheeks. Leo could barely speak. "Where did you go?" Mira stepped inside. "I went to decide," she said softly. "Decide what?" "If I could stay," she whispered. "If I could live like this. Not as a weapon, not as a soldier, just as me." Leo looked at her, heart racing, and she reached into her pocket and pulled out the metal shard, the broken tracker Leo had once removed from her neck. "I buried the last part of my past," she said. "In the snow, under the stars." She stepped closer. "And now I choose my future." She placed a hand over his heart. "I choose you." Tears filled Leo's eyes. He pulled her into a hug, holding her like he never wanted to let go. "You came back." "I always knew I would," she said. They lived quietly after that. The world outside never knew what had happened in that forest. The Skywatchers didn't see the black ships leave orbit. The government drones missed the glowing signals. The hunters never returned. And Mira? She learned. She learned how to cook eggs, how to laugh at bad jokes, how to write English letters without flipping them upside down. She loved Earth's music, especially old piano songs. She would sit by the window with Leo's headphones on, eyes closed, smiling softly. Sometimes her powers flared when she had strong emotions, lighting up the room when she was happy or making cups float when she got annoyed. But she was learning to control them. She even planted flowers in the frozen garden where Leo's vegetables once failed. To her surprise, they grew. One spring morning, months later, Leo handed her a small wrapped box. Mira tilted her head. "A box?" "Open it," he said. She carefully unwrapped it and gasped. Inside was a small ring. Simple, silver, beautiful. She looked up at him. "This is for choosing?" Leo laughed. "It's a human tradition. When two people love each other deeply, they make a promise to stay." Mira's eyes shimmered. "And if I say yes?" He smiled. "Then you don't just stay. You become home." She looked at the ring again, then slipped it onto her finger. "I choose again," she said. "I choose yes." They kissed under the blooming sky. She was not human, he was not alien, they were something stronger together.